So in a previous video, we talked about the pros and cons of becoming a massage therapist in 2024 and beyond. In this video, I want to talk specifically about some tips that will actually help you make the cons less impactful and get through them to the point where you can actually have that really great, thriving career with all the pros of being a massage therapist and a lot less of the cons.
So the first tip that I would have for you, especially as a brand new graduate out of school, is to show up, and show up consistently and reliably. You don't have experience yet. Your work is probably okay to good, but not mind-blowing. And really the one thing that you have to offer a client above me, who's got 17 years of experience and a deep reputation, is that you're available, right? Somebody can't get a session with me for 8 to 12 weeks, but as a brand new graduate, your schedule probably has openings today. If you show up, even though you don't have bookings on your calendar, you will get those same-day bookings and you will start to see clients and help them and work with them. But if you're late or consistently calling out sick, even if you're not, or consistently asking for days off so you can go do this beach day with your friends or take this workshop or do this or that, then you're not going to be reliable to the business or the clients. And the clients are looking for somebody who, let's put it this way, the clients are going to be more interested in a decent therapist who's available and reliable than they are an amazing therapist who they can never get a session with. And so the main thing that you have to offer is reliability. If you mess that up, you don't have much to offer anybody. So be there, show up, and be consistent and reliable. So the second tip that I have that will help you succeed and get through the struggles faster is to remember that massage therapy is a people business. It is not just working on a set of muscles. These muscles are attached to a person. And your ability to connect with that person and put them at ease is a very important part of a skill set to actually getting a consistent clientele. If you're awkward or weird or uncomfortable, you're going to make your client feel awkward, weird, and uncomfortable, and it's going to create a separation, and they're not going to want to share with you, and they're not going to feel open to receiving the work. And so one of the main things that you can work on if you're not all that comfortable is just talking to strangers. Whether it's what I did, because I'm not actually an extrovert, I had to learn how to be an extrovert, and going and sitting in bars and meeting strangers and talking to them, or whether you want to just Zoom people or whatever, you need to be able to meet a human being you've never met before, put them at ease very easily, have them sit across from you, and have them tell you about their pain and their stress. And if you're worried about how the client is feeling about you, that is going to create a weird disconnect. And so I would rather have you put the focus on trying to put the other person at ease, and that means a couple different things. One, smiling. Be nice, be friendly. Two, don't be off-putting or weird, right? Like, you want to be open to this other person, right? Body language makes a difference, and if I'm sitting there like this, that person's not open to talking to me, right? Or if I'm dude, whatever, get on the table, right? That's not going to work either. You want to be warm, inviting, and friendly, right? And that is the very first thing. Again, most clients would rather work with a decent therapist who's pretty good, who's easy to get along with and fun to talk to, than they would work on somebody who's a genius but is bizarre and awkward and weird and hard to talk to. It's just human nature. Just remember that this job really requires putting people at ease, and that you want your effort to be about how do I put this other person at ease versus worrying about how do they feel about me or what are they thinking about me. Put your effort into putting them at ease and you'll be fine. The next tip is make absolutely sure that you have a 60-minute and a 90-minute full body sequence that you have practiced on enough people that it is smooth as silk, and that it is consistent and that you can perform it over and over if you need to. I'm not saying that you should do every massage exactly the same, far from it, but if you don't have a starting place to work from that you're really comfortable with, that you're not having problems remembering, that feels clunky or inconsistent, you know, that is going to turn off clients. And so you want things to be as smooth as possible in the session. And therefore, if you create a sequence that you have memorized, that you're really comfortable with, that is the basic starting point. So if you don't have that, make one. If that means practicing on friends and family until you have one memorized that is consistent, do it for free. But if you have that one basic thing down, everything can build on top of that, and you can start taking pieces out of that and putting in more focused work, or you can start using this half of it but then changing things over here. But if you don't have that full body, full sequence, like really down pat, you're gonna be struggling really hard. And if it means practicing for free to get it down, that is absolutely worth your time. Tip number 4, have a consistent schedule and keep it. I can't say this enough. If you're starting out, the number one thing that you offer to people is availability. And if you keep switching your schedule around or taking days off, clients aren't going to know that you're there for them. And so pick your shifts with your employer or for your private practice if you're going to that, and keep them. And keep them for months to years before you make switches. And if you're gonna make switches, let your clients know well ahead of time, and only make them if they're gonna stay that way. Because the one things that clients needs from you more or as much as they need really good body work is to know that they can get it consistently. And if you're not consistent or reliable in your schedule, they're gonna go with somebody else who is available and consistent. So make a schedule that works for you and keep it. The very last tip I have for you to help you through that initial struggle period as a new massage therapist is to really look at the longer term growth and not worry so much about each and every hour of your day. You're gonna have some days that aren't fully booked. You're gonna have some shifts that might not have any bookings at all, and then magically the next shift is fully booked and completely booked solid. Both of those are struggles. It's actually, if you're not used to working a shift that has back-to-back-to-back sessions with 15 minutes between them, that's just as much of a struggle as just sitting there not doing anything at all. All right, and you're gonna see inconsistency at first. And if you get too focused on this hour or this day or even this week, you're gonna burn out, right? Because there's gonna be ups and downs no matter what. And it's gonna take, in general, 6 to 12 months to start to smooth those ups and downs out and make them more consistent. And so if you get too worried about the day-to-day or the hour-to-hour, you're gonna miss the fact that you are actually starting to retain clients and that you are starting to build more consistent shifts, and that if you looked 3 months from now, you'd probably see that instead of being booked 50% of the time, you're now booked 70% of the time or 80% of the time. And so if you can start to really think about this long-term analysis and growth and just looking at the consistency of growth over months to years, then you will be able to suffer through the weird days that are just empty, or the clients that late cancel on you and get into arguments about your late cancellation policy, or the people who call out sick that you don't get paid for. Like, all that stuff can be really disempowering if you just focus on right now. But just know that those things are gonna happen no matter what you do. And they happen to me. I am 17 years in, I have a 12-week wait list, and every once in a while, I still get somebody who late cancels and doesn't pay, and I don't get paid for it. Or I have somebody who calls out sick, and I don't, despite the fact that I have 20 people on a wait list hoping to get sessions with me, nobody's available to fill that session that day. That still happens, and it will pretty much forever be a possibility. The difference is that happens to me maybe 3 times a year as opposed to 3 times a day or 3 times a week, right? And it took a long time to get to that point where I have 20 people to text if I get a last minute cancellation, and maybe one of them will take that opening, right? That takes time, it takes effort, and it takes being through all the struggles. But if you're willing to do that and you're not focused so much on these short-term losses, if you will, and you're more focused on the slow but steady long-term growth, you'll get through all the struggles and you'll get on the other side to the really great part of this career, which is having consistent bookings, consistent income, great feedback from all your clients that you're helping them. You get to go to work and feel really happy about what you're up to, and it's not going to burn you out.
So there you go, our tips for getting past the cons of becoming a massage therapist and getting to the pros and the really positive benefits of this field. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button below, and we think you're going to like this video too.